Good morning and welcome back. So today I'm super excited because I am going to be breaking down one of the case studies of one of my student Ivika on how he ended up joining our program and how he ended up getting a role within 40 days. And the reason I'm so excited for this training is because I would be sharing with you some of the behind the screens of what happens within SetterZub to ensure that our students get the training, the practice, and also the placement all within 40 days. Now, a bit about Ivika. He's been in the space for 2 years now. He invested over 7K, got no tangible results, ended up joining our program, and landed a DM role within 40 days. And I would be sharing with you the exact step-by-step roadmap on what he did to achieve this result in such a short time. And then finally, how you can go ahead and start replicating it for yourself. Now, for me, to make it as easy for you as possible and for you to actually understand the essence of everything, we are going to be breaking it down into 3 stages. So, stage number 1, we are going to call the preparation and then the resources. Stage 2 is what we're going to call the refinement, inputs, and then standards. And stage 3 is going to be placement and then the after effects. Now, going back to stage 1, which is the preparation and the resources. So, this was Ivika when he initially reached out to us saying that, hey, I've been seeing you guys, you guys are crushing it, your students are freaking making money. How does your coaching work? We ended up jumping on a call. It all matched up. I created a custom plan for him, and he ended up joining in. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is when he joined in, he was initially extremely fearful. When we were chatting, I was on a call with him for 30 minutes, just handling his objection and his fear. And I never do that. If you've ever jumped on a call with me, you would know for a fact that I never objection handle. That is not something I do. If you want to work with us, sure. If you don't want to work with us, don't work with us. But the reason I did it with him is because I knew that I could help him. And considering what we have is invite only, I was like, let me take some time with him because I know this would be a good testimonial for me. And that is what is happening as of right now. So, number 1, he joined in, was super fearful because, again, bad experiences, but he took the leap of faith and he joined us in. Now, at this moment, I gave him the access to everything in terms of resources, the WhatsApp group, the modules, the Q&A sessions, the one-on-ones, all of that exciting stuff to make sure that he is prepared and he is ready for what's coming up ahead. And then finally, I had him fill out the onboarding form. Now, typically when someone joins us in, we have this super easy, simple 7-question onboarding form, and it goes over things such as, what are your goals over the next 30 days to achieve within this coaching to consider this coaching a success? What are your goals over the next 3 months within the coaching to consider this coaching a success? And then we take all of those things and create a custom plan for you on what you need to be doing on a day-to-day basis to make sure that you freaking hit your income goals and just get more freedom, right? So I had him fill out the onboarding form. I had an idea about what was happening with him, and then I went ahead and created a custom plan for him. Now, this is where we shift to the second part of stage 1. At this point, he's been going through the modules, he's been going through all the things, and he's been joining the Q&A sessions. I've been touching base with him, and I was like, hey, bro, wanted to touch base with you, see how your experience has been with us so far, with the learning lessons and what you feeling. Now, at this point, he was super excited. He would say, he said, it is different. And considering he has been other coaching, he said, we rarely have Q&As because the owner is always busy. But again, the only reason I'm the best guy within the space is our fulfillment is freaking goated. We give you so much support to make sure that you make money with this. So he was happy, right? So what we did is we created a custom 90 days plan for him. Now, again, I've created a separate video, which is like 22 minutes, breaking down the exact plan and how it works, like the branding, the networking, and this and that. So if you want to get the exact details or what that custom plan includes, I would just leave the link below in the bio. You can watch it after this one. But in easy words, we took everything he had given us in terms of goals and challenges in his onboarding form, and we just took that and created a 90 days custom plan for him on what he needs to be doing on a day-to-day basis to achieve the results that he's aiming for. Now, the second thing we worked on was skills refinement. Now, why is this such a big one? Why am I working with someone to refine their skills knowing that they've been in the space for almost 2 years now? And that is because the approach that you guys have is outdated. A lot of people would just go with pain, and then they would talk about the goals, and then they would talk about the gap. Just talking about this makes me freaking cringe out. It's outdated. Everyone knows what you're doing within the DMs, and that is the reason why 70% of your leads ghost you. So at this point, I was like, hey, bro, you're great. You've joined some coaching, but guess what? You got to work on your skills. So we're going to spend some time. You're going to have a couple of role plays once you watch all the modules, and I'm going to give you feedback with what we call intent-based setting. So that is what we were working on. Another thing that we made sure that we do during this time is keep our feedback loops as tight as possible. Now, what do I mean by feedback loop? Now, what typically happens within coaching is you would reach out to your CSM or your coach or your business owner, whatever the case is, whoever the coach is, and you're like, hey man, I did what you told me to do. Like, can you give me some feedback? What do you think is my next step? And then they take like 3 fucking days to get back to you. So the feedback loop is freaking weak because you're sending them resources, they're taking 3 days to get back to you, then you're implementing it, and then you're getting back to him. So our goal within this section was, hey, whatever I tell you, you gotta freaking go ahead and do it the same day. Come back to me the same day so I can review it the same day and give you the feedback so we can freaking improve as soon as we can. Right? So the next thing we did was making sure that we keep the feedback loop as short as possible. Now, at this point, I had him do something which not a lot of coaches focus on, which is creating a routine for himself or building good habits for himself. Now, why did we do that? Is because I want you to remember for a minute, the life that you're living today is nothing but an accumulation of the decisions that you've made in your life. None of us are born with any value. None of us are born with, set qualities or set skill sets. All of us are born naked, and nobody has any idea where we're going to end up. But it's just that some of us took some different decisions than the other, and that is why I am here and you are there. Right? So our entire goal for him was to make sure that he understands that for him to make 10K a month, it's not about how can I make 10K a month, but it's more about what kind of person do I need to become? What sort of routine do I need to have to make that 10K a month? Another thing that goes into the routine as well is, if you've been watching me, you already know I'm a big believer of the fact that sales is not a skill, it's a lifestyle. You cannot expect to have a fucked up routine and habits outside of sales and then show up to your work and think you're going to crush it. You got to make sure you truly embody sales as a whole. So that was our goal here, creating a schedule that pushes him to ensure that he achieves his goal. And again, that routine is also discussed within the video that I was telling you about earlier. I leave the link down in the description. Now, the second thing that we did was custom trackers. Now, why am I such a big guy on trackers? Is because what gets measured gets exactly improved, right? So I was like, hey, bro, I'm giving you feedback. I'm telling you what you got to do. You have your 90 days plan, so you know exactly what you got to do, but you got to track those numbers. You got to track your role plays, your feedback, your network, your branding, your connections, everything, your looms, your interviews. Because if we cannot track those numbers, then we don't know what's going wrong. Because again, oftentimes when DM setters or setters in general are struggling with finding a job, they typically just say, oh, it's my loom, or oh, it's my interview, or oh, it's my accent. And typically it's not even those issues. Perhaps it's just a little tweak. For example, the fact that you answer a few questions in a really weird way that puts your experience as a red flag. And other than that, you're doing everything absolutely fine. So you're working on the 80% that's going to give you the 20% of the results and not fixing the 20% that's actually freaking broken, right? So again, we got to track those numbers. And then the last one was modules binge. Is like, bro, go ahead and freaking watch the modules that I've given you. And the modules that we have are foundational DM setting program, which is the foundations, the outbound, inbound, call proposal, and all of that stuff to ensure that you understand what DM setting even is. So when I review your role plays and give you feedback with intent-based setting, you know exactly what's happening. Now, this is where we move to the stage 2, which is refinements, inputs, and then standards. So go into this first. Now, at this point, I started referring him to a few business owners because, again, we have like placements, we have referrals. That is a core pillar of our offer, which is guaranteed placement. Now, the reason I did it so soon was because I wanted to see where he was in terms of everything. Could he land a role? Did he have any, red signals, red flags that, we perhaps missed out within the training? So I was like, let me send him a couple of business owners. Let's see how he does. And then we're going to make a decision based off of that. Now, I sent him to the business owner. He freaking crushed it. I said, Loom crushed. The business owner loved it. I told him that you're taking back the feedback and applying it immediately. And I was like, let me get you in touch with him. Now, again, 2 weeks in, he's getting referrals. He's making sure he's doing what he's supposed to do. And I'm just kind of freaking training him back and forth because we have these Q&A twice a week. So as I'm giving him referrals, as he's watched the modules, as his brand is getting better, I'm working with him on a day-to-day basis to make sure that his fucking skills refine. Because again, let me explain something to you in the simplest term possible without coming off as an arrogant prick. I can give you an offer, but the question is, can you keep an offer? A lot of you guys reach out to me, Yunus, can you give me a placement? Can you give me a placement? Oh, I need like an A plus offer. Can you fucking keep an A plus offer? The answer is no, right? So I can do the 50%, which is giving you the offer, but the other 50% is on you. But I take that off of you and I take it on me and I'm like, let me train you up to make sure that you can fucking keep an offer. Right. So we were going back and forward with the skill refinements, mindset, branding and everything else to make sure that he does as well as he does. And then on the back end, we were also breaking down his looms for him. Like, hey, man, this is where you're messing up. This is because, again, you got to remember, this is the guy that has been in the sales for 2 years with no results. He had jumped on offers with no results. So that is a massive red flag in itself. Now, how do you change that red flag into a green flag is what we were figuring out on these Loom breakdown videos to make sure that I help him in the best way possible. The next step is super simple as well. So this is where we shift to extreme accountability, right? And I want to show you the screenshot. I've seen no post from your end on your profile. Not sure if you're following what we discussed. He said, today I'll make a post. I said, are you applying to offers, sending an application, networking, and jumping on calls? He said, bada, bada, boom. I said, are you tracking all of that? Now, what do I have? Why do I have to do this? Because he has paid me. I don't need to do this. Like, why should I hold someone else accountable? Because again, you have just paid me. I've made my money. The reason I do that is because I have fucking high standards for myself, and I have high standards for Setters Hub as a whole. The reason people love working with us, the reason our success rate is 100%, the reason I have students getting a job in under 40 days again and again and again and again is because I fucking hold them accountable. Because what happens oftentimes is they have been part of coaching, other coachings, and they work with other mentors, or they've been part of groups or friends or family members or environments where their standards are extremely low. They don't know how it feels to be a top performer. So during this stage, I make sure that I hold them so accountable to what they said they want to do and achieve that they always end up raising their standards and becoming the best version of themselves. Because my goal is not to work with you for a couple of months, get you a shitty offer, and then you're like, Eunice, what else? And then I just like, yeah, I'm like, we did our promise, we gave you everything. The goal here is to work with you until you become the fucking best version of ourselves. And the testimony to that is the fact that some of my students have been with me for 2 to 3 years now, just because they love our coaching so much, right? So that was the second stuff. And then the third part of the second stage was a hiccup. Now, what do I mean by hiccup? This was a point where I gave him such a good offer, with a 1K base and commissions, and I put him on a pedestal. I was like, hey, you know what? Ivika is such a good guy. I've trained him myself. He's going to absolutely fucking crush within the offer. And he just went ahead and he said no to them. And I was like, oh, what? I was like, bro, I'm fucking giving you referrals. But the thing is, he did not know that it was DMs, right? So it was like, oh, I feel so bad now. You didn't, and I hope you didn't lose your connection because of me. Now, I want you to remember, we guarantee placement, but I gave him the placement and he said no. So is it my mistake or is it his? Should I hold him accountable and be like, we're not going to give you any other placement? Because again, I've gotten my money, but we're not going to fucking do that because I understand that it was a tiny hiccup. And until and unless this guy makes money, I'm not going to fucking give up because he is working with me. And I have a freaking reputation to take care of. 6 years within the space, 15 million generated. So at this moment, we revamped and we revisited our entire plans because again, by this point, this guy should have gotten a job within like a month or like 25 days. But he said no, and this really kind of messed up the plan that we had. So we went back. I created a plan for him again, and I gave him a clear plan to what he's supposed to do going next. And then finally, we move to the stage three, which is the placement and the after effects. Now, at this point, he's continuously having role plays. He's showing up as the top person. He's having role plays, and his custom brand is fucking great. He's getting headhunted for roles right, left, and center. Now, this has been the biggest achievement throughout all of this. It's just helping him understand what it feels like to become a top version of yourself, that top 1% version of yourself. And then again, he was having role plays, and this is also a big one because a lot of you setters, you guys send cold fucking outbounds. It doesn't work. It's cringe. I'm gonna say it again. I know your coach charged you, I don't know, like 10K, and they were like, hey, just do cold DMs. It does not fucking work. What works instead is getting headhunted. And I was explaining this to someone a couple of hours ago about how people think that sales is 100% about skills. Right? They're like, oh, if I just get good enough, or if I just get good enough at this, I'm going to make so much money. But guess what? That is 50%. Now, what is the other 50%? Is it an offer, Eunice? No, it's not an offer. Is it the people you're in touch with? Maybe part of it, but not truly, not as a whole. So if you're wondering what is the other 50%, it is navigation. How do you navigate within an online industry like sales? And how do you stay on top of the industry to make sure that you make as much money as possible? And all the things that you said, the offer, the people, the connections, all of those are the byproducts of knowing how to navigate within the space. Right? So I hope that makes sense. It's like, hey, build a brand, talk about yourself, market yourself enough so you start getting headhunted. Now, again, I want to show you something very interesting. I want to take you back to stage one. 2 years in the space, no results, no idea what he's doing. His freaking resume looks shit because 2 years and no results. Coaches don't want to work with him because he's a red flag, according to his results. And then within 30 days, he's getting coaches reaching out to him because they're looking for a setter. I want you to take a moment and truly let that sink in. 30 days. All it took was fucking 30 days. Proud of you, Ivika, if you're watching this. So he's getting headhunted. The progress has been clear, and his skills have been refined at this point. So he is the intent-based setter now. He is the setter that doesn't need a script. He's the setter that doesn't fucking depend on a syntax. He's a setter that doesn't work 8 to 10 hours a day. But guess what? He still books calls right, left, and center. So at this point, I finally touched base with him one last time, and I was like, "Did you jump at an offer?" And he said, "Yes, bro." Now, he did get a placement from us, but he's jumping on with this guy as well who headhunted him as a setter. So I really understand. I really hope you understand that, all of this put him in a position to make sure that he never struggles within the space ever again. Now, of course, I'm not going to deny the fact that we had a lot of one-on-ones outside of just what we discussed. Of course, we created a lot of creating custom plans for him, his goals, his marketing, intent-based setting, this and that. Again, working a lot one-on-one, breaking down strategies. How can he maximize the use of everything, or just helping him out when he felt low? Because again, sales is not an easy space to be in. It's not an easy space to be in. It's definitely not easy when you've been, I wouldn't use the word scam, but maybe you've been pushed to join different coaching program with the wrong expectations, and now you just feel so freaking lost. Of course, you're going to feel low at times, but I made sure that I was there for him because I've been in the sales space for 6 years now. I'm not someone that did this for a year and made like 100K or like 5K in a single month, and now I coach people. I've been in the sales space for 6 years now. In 2022, when I was 17, I was making $7.5 grand a month, and I've posted that on my IG. It's freaking insane. And again, I was QCing his conversation. I was making him scripts and trackers for his offers, and I was just helping him navigate his next step. But even outside of all that, this plan in itself is what allowed Ivica to achieve the goals that he did. Now, again, we did not go into the details of everything because I have a completely different video for that that you can watch, and I will just put the link in the description of this video, and that is about how Shane landed an offer in under 30 days, where I go into immense detail with each and every plan. But I really hope that this helps you in the best way possible, and I really hope that you realize that it's really not difficult to make money within the space as long as you know what you're doing. So stay happy and make a lot of money. Take care. Bye.